Good evening. Labour's next UK manifesto will include a commitment to oppose a second independence referendum. The party's leader in Scotland, Richard Leonard, says there's no case and no support for another vote. But the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, tweeted that Labour is likely to alienate its own former supporters with the policy. The Scottish Conservative said Labour can't be trusted on independence. Our political correspondent, Nick Eardley, reports.
Decisions, decisions. Jeremy Corbyn wants you to think he's ready for power. Some want to know more about what he'd do. Pro-EU protesters outside the conference this morning. They want Labour to back a second Brexit vote. Mr Corbyn says he'll back what party members say this week. But he's also suggested another independence referendum could happen, telling the BBC he wouldn't rule out giving Holyrood the power to hold one.
Things will be very different in Scotland with an ally in Westminster like a Labour government.
You're not ruling out allowing the power for the Scottish Parliament to hold another referendum?
I'm not ruling out, I'm just pointing out the reality.
But Labour has suffered from failing to have a consistent position on independence. So today, a clarification. The party will oppose another independence vote in its next manifesto, and the Scottish Party thinks that would allow Mr Corbyn to say no.
If he wins an election, which I sincerely hope that he will, on a manifesto which contains that pledge, then that will give him a mandate to oppose a second independence referendum.
The SNP say that would be an outrage.
The fundamental point is the people of Scotland have got the right to decide this, and Richard Leonard and the Labour Party should not stand against that.
On the other side, the Conservatives say Labour can't be trusted on the union while Mr Corbyn remains leader. There are some in the Labour Party who think the independence issue is a dead duck. One MP offered to bet me £1,000 today that there wouldn't be another vote on independence in their lifetime. Others are frustrated that the party is having to clarify where it stands once again. The Labour strategists know that they've been squeezed on the issue. The pro-independence SNP on one side and the unambiguously anti-independence Conservatives on the other. Richard Leonard is promising the next Labour manifesto will oppose another independence referendum. But more crucially, he's suggesting that if the Labour win that election, Mr Corbyn would have a UK-wide mandate to say no if the Scottish Government comes and asks for the power to hold one. That will infuriate some, including some in the Labour Party, who think that should be a decision for the Scottish Parliament. But Mr Leonard has made a calculation that he needs to shore up his anti-independence credentials, and that's what he's trying to do. Nick Eardley reporting Scotland, Liverpool.
It's been confirmed that the House of Fraser store in Edinburgh is to close, with owner Mike Ashley blaming greedy landlords. The Sports Direct billionaire who bought the retailer out of administration for £90 million said he was disappointed some landlords refused to be reasonable, with stores in Hull and Swindon also shutting after the failure of negotiations to cut rents. Hundreds of staff affected by the 3 store closures are now going through redundancy consultation. Police are investigating after a 39-year-old man's body was discovered in a street in the Townhead area of Glasgow. An area close to Kennedy Street was cordoned off after the alarm was raised this morning. The death is being treated as unexplained and inquiries are at an early stage. More than 27,000 visitors have been through the doors of Dundee's new V&A Museum in its first week. The £80 million building, which was designed by Japanese architect Kengo Kuma, is expected to attract 500,000 visitors in its opening year. The museum is the first V&A anywhere in the world outside of London and is the centrepiece of Dundee's £1 billion waterfront regeneration. Football now, in Kilmarnock snatched a dramatic victory over Celtic at Rugby Park. The winner came in injury time when the former Celtic youth defender Stuart Finlay headed in a corner. Celtic had taken the lead in the first half. In today's other match, Rangers beat St Johnstone 5-1. It means Rangers are now second in the table. Judith is here with your weather. It was cold this morning, Judith, wasn't it?
It was chilly first thing. And indeed, there was quite a frost around as well. And indeed, there will be tomorrow morning too. Plenty of rainbow pictures coming in from our weather watchers. But equally, we saw some lovely sunshine. And we'll still see some evening sunshine as we head through the evening. Overnight, that turning into clear skies. A number of showers still for the west and indeed the far north as well. But as we head through the overnight period, those showers will ease. So it will be chilly. We're looking at lows of 3 or 4 Celsius in towns and cities, lower in the countryside, and we are likely to see a frost, as I already mentioned. Towards the west coast, not quite as cold, still quite a breeze. So as we head into tomorrow, plenty of sunshine first thing. It will be a chilly start as well. Some showers to the west and the north, and those showers will tend to become widespread as we head through the course of the day. But we hold on to plenty of dry weather across southern and eastern Scotland. The wind's back into the west that will still feel on the cool side. We're looking at highs around 13 or 14 Celsius. Clouds starting to build across the Western Isles later in the day, and that's the precursor to some rain moving in here, along with a strengthening southwesterly wind. That's your forecast. Suzanne.
Thanks very much, Judith. And that's Reporting Scotland. We'll be back at the later time of 25 to 11 tonight. Until then, from everyone here, have a very good evening.